Welcome back to The Big Picture. Imagine for a second that you're a parent, or if you're already a parent, picture yourself in this situation. You have a very, very sick child. And then imagine that after years of searching for a way to make that child better, you find something that's as close as you can come to a miracle cure on this planet and in this universe. But there's a catch. That miracle cure is illegal. And if you continue to use it for your child, protective services could take her away. What would you do in that situation? Would you break the law to save your child, even though it could mean losing her? Or would you fight the powers that be because you know you're right? This is the situation that Sarah Ellett finds herself in with her daughter Remy in their home state of Utah. Remy was born with a number of serious medical disorders, and doctors were initially very worried about whether or not she would survive. But she did survive and has recently started to thrive thanks to cannabis oil, her very own miracle medicine. The oil worked so well that last year Remy moved with her mom from Utah to Oregon to take advantage of that state's expansive medical marijuana program. But when Oregon ended out-of-state use of that program at the end of last year, Remy had to go back to Utah, which is a big deal because the kind of cannabis oil she needs is banned in Utah. If her mom gives it to her, Child Protective Services could take Remy away. If you're looking for an example of everything that's wrong with modern-day prohibition, this is it. Joining me now with Remy to talk more about her situation and what she's doing to fight for her daughter's rights is Sarah Ellett. Sarah, welcome.
Hi, how are you?
I'm well. Thank you for being with us. I touched on it on our intro, but can you tell us more about Remy and her situation and just make sure I accurately characterize the situation?
Okay. Yeah, you did. Sorry, she just decided she didn't want to be here.
That's okay.
Okay.
So tell us Remy's story.
Okay, so Remy was born with a cleft lip and palate, and shortly after that we discovered that she has no pituitary function, which has led to quite a few issues with her overall health because it's systemic. And as we started going through this about 7 or 8 months ago, I realized that she could benefit from whole plant access. And so I went to Oregon and I obtained the medical cards that she needs in order to use. However, we live in Utah and it's illegal, so I was unable to treat her in Utah for what she needed the treatment for.
When she went to Oregon with you and she tried cannabis oil, what happened? What was the difference in her health?
She started walking and she was able to start eating. She started actually making words, and she started taking swimming lessons. And as she took swimming lessons, we found that she could handle water. We were told that she couldn't even drink from water. And so she actually improved her abilities to eat and drink, which has really changed her life. It's brought her a lot of happiness.
That is truly astonishing. And when Oregon ended that program at the end of 2015, a couple of weeks ago, where they said that out-of-state folks could come to Oregon and get medical marijuana when they decriminalized recreational pot. What are you doing now? What are you going to do? What are the choices you're faced with?
Well, first choice that I have is, the first choice as far as legally getting it would be to move to Oregon as a resident, try to obtain a card that way. It's not really feasible. So my second choice is to stay here in Utah and fight for the law to pass for whole plant access.
Yeah. Is there a serious effort in Utah right now to allow medical marijuana? Is the legislature moving in that direction?
Yeah, there's actually a couple of bills. The first bill is really more about the bill that was passed a couple years ago, and it's really meant to offset and almost derail the bill that I'm supporting anyway with Mark Madsen. Mark Madsen's bill will include whole plant access because we need all the cannabinoids for the entourage effect. So I'm in complete support of that. That bill's picked up a lot of support. There's a lot of patients that are coming out realizing that they can speak up and help with the movement. So I hope that it will gain a lot of attention and a lot of support, and that people will go ahead and choose for this to be the law that we have in place.
Is Remy's lack of access to cannabis oil becoming problematic now?
Yeah, it was. So just about a month and a half or so ago, we had been able to give it to her anymore. And we started to notice the decline in her health. And last week, I just couldn't take it anymore. And so I actually was able to obtain some for her. And yes, now we are illegally using in the state of Utah. However, I don't know what else I can do at this point because she was so weak. Her lungs were failing her. She couldn't handle the pollution. We have a problem with pollution in our skies here. We get inversions because of the mountains, and she just couldn't handle it. And I just couldn't put her through that. So I've gone ahead and started treating her again, and she has improved again. It just makes me a true believer every time I see her increase her health.
Do you have allies in the Oregon legislature? Are there folks who are familiar with your situation who are working on your behalf? Or Utah, excuse me?
Oh, Utah? Yes, Mark Matson's actually met me. He's met Remy. We have the support from different individuals up there. They are going to start lobbying, and I think that I will be meeting more and more people that are in support of this. This weekend, I was able to meet some people up at the Capitol that helped us, to understand what we need to do when we're there talking to our legislators, because a lot of us have been sick. We've never passed a law. We've never tried to even do this before. So we're getting together and we're just going to start doing it.
I understand you've set up a GoFundMe account to help with this. How can viewers help out, Remy?
Okay, so viewers could help our family by donating some money just to help us to get by until I'm able to get her the help that she needs. They can also help her by sharing her page and by telling our story, making sure that people understand the situation here in Utah.
So it's GoFundMe.com/sweet-small-remedy, is that right?
It is.
Yeah, okay, great. But I understand also that one of the pieces of legislation that's been introduced or discussed in Utah to legalize medical marijuana would not include cannabis oil, which is what has been so helpful to Remy. Why is that?
Why would it not be helpful to Remy?
No. Why would they legalize medical marijuana but not allow cannabis oil? Or did I misunderstand the article I read?
Well, yeah, so this other bill is just, it's just about having high CBD, because some people believe that there is no use for the whole plant experience the entourage effects to actually heal. But we know from many studies, very much so, that we need to have the whole plant access. However, there are companies out there that have extracted and just made high CBD, and they feel like it's the product that everyone should use. And so when people go out there to look, that's what they see.
Right. So just to clarify for somebody who may be watching and not know what we're talking about, the two principal, and there's a bunch of others, but the two main active ingredients in marijuana are THC, tetrahydrocannabinol, and CBD, and I forget what that, although it's a cannabinol. And THC is what makes you kind of stoned and giggly, and CBD is what makes you feel, relaxed and sleepy, I guess, in terms of recreational marijuana. And some of the thinking was that the CBD was the stuff that was super therapeutic, and the THC was, oh, that just gets people high. But your experience has been that you really need both. Do I have that right?
You are correct. Actually, Remy is on a higher THC cannabinoid. She also has the CBD cannabinoid and many others that are part of it, and it's considered a whole plant. So they actually work together in a blend, and a lot of people don't understand that these cannabinoids are all there to work with each other. And yeah, it's true in recreational, you can raise the THC. There's a lot of things that have been done to achieve that, but we need to get back to the way that it was really intended to be, and that is for medicine.
Yeah. And using, as it says in Genesis, using plants for your medicine. Sarah Ellett,
Yeah.
Remy Ellett, thank you so much for being with us tonight, Sarah.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure.